All right. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, good. All right. I think that there's some technology challenges that maybe some of you are experiencing. I apologize for that. Douglas County, we have to use Teams now, and so sometimes this transition, Teams webinars, a transition, it's an adjustment for me. So I think we're going to be good today, though. So I want to thank everybody for coming, and I know that there'll probably be a lot of folks that are going to view this webinar once we post it on the county's YouTube page, and we'll share it out with folks that are attended today. And if you want to share that out in your networks, that would be great as well. So I'm Jill Jolliker. I'm the Assistant County Administrator for Douglas County. I also serve as the Entrepreneurship Community Coordinator, and part of those responsibilities, I get to facilitate and support the annual Youth Entrepreneurship Challenge. You all know that we've got that planned for this coming February. We've got a flyer up on the screen now, and we're trying to push out as much information about that. But today we want to just do what we're calling a warm-up webinar. So we want to get folks more comfortable with what are the components of the competition, and maybe make it a little less scary, a little less intimidating to folks. And really grateful that we have past competitors like Felix here to kind of demystify it, and also just encourage folks to try it on for size as well. And so there we have it. So real quick, I'm going to just take us through the agenda, and then we'll get with our speakers. So we're going to try to be really thoughtful about our time. We're going to try to get through this within 45 minutes. If there's lots of questions, we'll try to get to those, but we're also going to encourage folks to come to another event that we have planned in December. That's going to be in person. It's going to be on Saturday. That's what everybody wants to do on a Saturday. But we're going to spend a little more time, hopefully providing some helpful assistance to folks. We've got some great partners here today to talk about, to get folks comfortable about what does it mean to be an entrepreneur, the entrepreneur mindset the entrepreneur mindset. We're going to talk about the basics of a pitch for a competition like this. We're going to get a pitch demonstration from Felix, who was our first place winner in the past competition. And then we're going to have some facilitated Q&A with Felix, again, to try to help demystify this kind of a competition for folks and make it seem a little more attainable and maybe fun to participate. So with that, I'm going to run the slideshow, and the first person I'm going to hand it off to is my colleague, Christina Edwards, who's the director of the KU Small Business Development Center. Christina, go for it.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. As Jill mentioned, my name is Christina, and I'm with the KU Small Business Development Center. Joining me today is my colleague, Carrie Poe, who will be talking about the entrepreneurial mindset. Jill, if you want to switch slides. We are a small but mighty team at the KU SBDC. It's myself, Carrie, and we actually are adding a new business advisor. So lots of support in the entrepreneurial space. Next slide, please. So for the event and beyond, we wanted to just give you a quick little introduction into our services at the SBDC. We offer completely free and confidential business advising to new and existing businesses. We've worked with YEC contestants in the past, both to help them prep for the event, but also after. So again, our services are free. We're just here to help. And so if small business ownership is something that interests you, please do reach out. We have lots of resources, and we can help you navigate all the scary steps that come along with starting a business. And we make them not scary, we make them fun. So today I'm going to talk to you about what is entrepreneurship, and more specifically, what is an entrepreneur? Put simply, an entrepreneur is someone who starts their own business. Some of the key traits of an entrepreneur is they have a great idea and they work hard to make it happen. Another aspect of entrepreneurship that's really fun is you get to bring your passion and drive into it, and you get to take some risks. So you kind of get to step outside of the box a little bit. Now, one thing I like to dispel when it comes to entrepreneurship is the idea of an idealized entrepreneur. Oftentimes on TV or perhaps even Shark Tank, we see these individuals with endless amounts of money that have these great ideas, and it seems like they're overnight success. Sometimes what we don't see is all the time and effort it took to get to that big idea and to get to the success. And so we like to remind businesses or aspiring business owners, you don't have to have endless amounts of money to be an entrepreneur. You just have to have a great idea and a drive to make it happen. And the passion will help kind of keep things flowing. Um, so it's hard work to be an entrepreneur, but again, you get to make it your own. So if you're going to school right now and you don't have a ton of time to do it full time, then you can kind of scale back and do it part time. Perhaps you don't want to do it during the school year. You just want to have your business in the summer. Again, you can make it your own. So the next slide, I'll give you some tips. So let's say you're in the idea phase, but you're not quite sure how to generate ideas for a business or for the competition. One of the things that you can do is start by looking around for problems. What are everyday problems that people face? Is there a product or perhaps a service that you can offer to make things a little bit more convenient? The other thing to think about too is, what are your skills and passions? So do you like to crochet, or are you an artist, or do you like landscaping? If you have skills and interests, or maybe you love pets, you can turn that into a business. So sometimes just thinking about what is it that I'm good at, or what is it that I like to do, can help generate ideas as far as what a business could look like. The next thing you always want to do is your homework, which is sometimes not fun. However, market research can be really fun because you get to explore the markets that you're looking to enter. So for instance, if you're looking to crochet and you want to see if people would be interested in a particular item that you crochet that's not available anywhere else, market research will allow you to see what the market looks like, give you an opportunity to talk to some different people, to launch your idea to the world. You can also get even more creative by seeking feedback from different people that you talk to. And the last thing I'll say is keep it simple. Again, you don't need an endless amount of money to start your business. And also, your business probably isn't going to go from $0 to $1 million in sales overnight. So think about keeping it small and making it work for you. One of the industry terms that we talk about is what we call a minimum viable product. And that's basically getting a product to market. It does not have to be perfect. It should not be perfect. But when you present it to the people, you're going to learn a lot. And you want your customers to help you in developing and investing more in your product to make it something really great. So again, keep it simple, scale over time, and don't forget to leverage your resources, because you're never alone in entrepreneurship. There's plenty of people out there to help, and oftentimes it's just free, which is always wonderful. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague who will talk about the entrepreneurial mindset.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Poe with the K Small Business Development Center. And to talk about the entrepreneurial mindset, we're really just taking some time to think about some key traits that will help you be a successful entrepreneur. And whether you decide to start a business or apply this in other ways, these are all important traits. So of course, the first one is that you really need to be your biggest fan. Entrepreneurship, it can be pretty tough, but to stay on track, you want to set some goals and be sure to celebrate when you actually accomplish them. Next, you want to look at those opportunities. As Christina mentioned a little bit, look around you. For example, what is going on at your school? For maybe at the high schools, at least in my experience, sometimes there's a bit of congestion and traffic jams when school gets dismissed, right? Is there a way to help decrease that frustration? Or maybe there's a huge pile of water bottles and lost and found, and you're like, this is not being very effective. What's something you could do to offer a solution for that? That's the kind of simplicity you can look around just in your current space and find opportunities. The next thing you want to do is act. So It's great to have the dreams, but if you don't actually begin acting on your idea, then you won't be able to implement a solution. So don't just dream about it, take a couple steps. And then persistence. So having persistence is essential throughout life, but especially as an entrepreneur, because you're often the only person in the business taking care of all the aspects of the business and all the time, at least at first, or until you can start having some help from friends, family, etc. You want to learn from your mistakes, and there's a really great quote from Paul McCartney that says, mistakes are a part of life. Acceptance of your mistakes is a part of growing. So go out there and make mistakes, learn from them, and most importantly, don't be afraid to make them. This is absolutely essential in figuring out what type of business you might want to run. Next, you want to surround yourself with supportive people who can be part of that mentor network. They can provide you valuable advice, encouragement, and even opportunities. So take a minute and think about who inspires you and start talking to them about some of your ideas. Entrepreneurs often look to give back to their community in some way or another, whether that's solving a community concern or if it's being able to donate back from some of their profits. So think about how you can give back to your community and what might be some relevant concerns, maybe in your school, your neighborhood, or even in some of your organizational clubs. And then finally, stay curious. Continue to learn more about the areas you're interested in, and this will help you continue to grow your mindset. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. Okay. Next on our agenda, we've got some good contact information. I'm going to pause here for a second. If folks want to grab that QR code, if you want some more information about how to connect with Christina and Carrie, they're incredible resources, and they're here to help. Okay, so next thing on our agenda is I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Kyle Johnson, who's the founder of Douglas County Core, who's going to walk through the basics of the pitch. And then Kyle's going to help us transition to the next part of our of this presentation, which is we're going to have a pitch demonstration by Felix. But Kyle, I'm going to hand it off to you. Kyle, are you able to hear us? Oh, maybe that was on my end. Oh, I'm sorry. Can't meet that. Okay, I'm sorry. Sheesh. Hold on just one second. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna make you a presenter. Sorry, I told you technology with, let's see, hopefully I got it. All right, you're a presenter. I'm so sorry, Kyle. I apologize. My bad.
No, that's all right. Let me see if I can share as well.
Stop share, stop share. I'll let you have it.
All right, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. First, I guess just a little bit about CORE. CORE is focused on helping entrepreneurs succeed in Douglas County. So no matter what kind of business you're starting, whether you're a solo entrepreneur, small business owner, tech entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, entrepreneurship can be very daunting and challenging. So we're trying to connect early stage entrepreneurs with mentors and different kinds of programming to make the experience less daunting and hopefully more successful. So let me just share my screen. So how to get connected with us and programming first. If you just go to our website, I'm not sure if this is sharing or not. Can you all see my?
We can see it. You're good.
Okay. So if you go to CORE's website and then go to join us, you can sign up there and then you'll get our emails and know about all the different things. we're also starting this bi-weekly kind of mentoring session we're calling the Hub, so you can sign up for that as well. Now, what do you need in your pitch? This isn't coming from me. This is kind of a classic approach called the Guy Kawasaki method. He's basically kind of a famous venture capitalist. So we all need more or less the same slides. Title, what's the problem you're solving? How do you propose to solve it? And what's so special about your method of solving it? How do you make money? How are you going to get customers? What does the competition look like? And who are you? For this particular, for YEC, financial projections are probably less important than just understanding these other fundamentals, like how do you make money and how are you going to get a customer, not necessarily how does it become really big, but those underlying kind of metrics. And then ultimately, where are you at? What's the status of the business? What have you done to date? What are you going to do next? Now, we have simplified this into a couple of editable templates that you can just snag and use for yourself. There's some slight variations between somebody seeking to start a tech business versus kind of a classic small business, a local business. So I'll just share those here. And you can just go and see, basically, we've got some instructions in here. You know, you don't want to focus on pretty slides yet. You just basically want to fill out this template. And then what's critical is fill the template out as quickly as you can, and then start having conversations with other people. So in there, you'll see like, all right, I just need to put my business name. What do you do in one line? I think for these kinds of competitions or these kinds of pitches, the team should come up front, like just, hi, here's what we do, and here's who we are. And then the problem, solution, the basics about the product or service, the business model, the market, the competitive landscape, and so on and so forth, where we're at and what's next. You can put the contact information along the bottom. So for the tech piece, it's a little bit more about the kind of technical details, kind of where, you know, what must you build, and then what's on the roadmap to get to that MVP that Christina mentioned. Certainly do not need a forecast like this for YEC. This is what a later stage, when you're actually fundraising for a tech business, would want to see. So there's some, you know, there mostly overlaps between tech and local, but again, I'll share these links. tinyurl.com/core-pitch- either tech or local, depending on the kind of business that you're building. But ultimately, it's about practice, practice, practice. Fill out the pitch deck template and then have a lot of conversations about it. That's it. Thanks a bunch. And I think we'll practice this then with Felix, and then we'll ask him some questions.
All right, with that, Felix, the floor is yours. If you want to give us your pitch.
Would you like me to give you the elevator pitch or the slide deck?
Slides.
There you
Slides?
go. Kyle's in charge.
Okay.
Basically, Felix, the like 4 to 6 minute version, whatever you got in that window.
All right, can you guys see this?
Yep.
All right, so welcome to greener grass. All right, so here's the problem. Gas-powered lawnmowers are bad, like really bad, worse than you think. Mowing your lawn with a gas-powered lawnmower for an hour is emits the same amount of pollution as driving a car roughly 200 miles. A lawnmower emits 88 pounds of carbon a year. People want to switch to electric but can't because it's too expensive. So here's the solution. We are an all-electric tool rental service. You rent lawn care tools from us, and they're all electric. We are like the city bike share of electric tools. Our sheds, so we build these sheds and we'll place them in local neighborhoods so they're close to population. They're solar powered and they also store all the tools. So here's some other designs I've made. So I designed this app so you can find the locations on it. You can find what tools and how many are in each shed. And all you do is you go pick up a tool. You like scan it in on the app to say, oh, okay, I have it now. You bring it to your house, you use it, and then you bring it back to the shed when you're done, put it back in its charging spot, and then you'll just get charged from there. So I conducted a survey with over 175 participants from around Lawrence, and 64% of those say that they take care of their own lawn. 81% of those people said they care about the environment and wish they could make a more better change about it. And 55% said they would like to switch to electric but can't. And there's tens of thousands of single-family homes in Lawrence, which just shows how big of a market this could be. So greener grass is the solution. It's an easy, cheap way to use electric tools. It's better for the earth and it's better for the people. So my experience, I've had my own lawn mowing business for 2 or 3 years now. I've doubled my profit recently. I use all electric tools. I love it. I can tell you they are so much better than gas powered tools. They don't smell. They're quieter. They're a lot better. So anyway, I just know this market very well. So to really get the word out and stuff, we'll use targeted ads on social media. We'll attend trade shows. We'll put in ads in the newspaper to really get the word around. So what we'll charge to rent a tool, we'll charge $15 an hour for a lawnmower and $10 an hour for other tools. Here are the costs I've laid out. So the total cost per shed will go to around $6,450. That's just a rough estimate, but that is what my research has come to do. So the funding needed, $4,000 to start up a first shed because I already have $3,000 in capital. So this is how much I need to really get it going. If we all switch to electric, then our grass will be greener. Thank you.
Great job, Felix. Now we'll kind of move into Q&A, and I think, other folks on this call certainly feel free to pop in and ask questions as well. But, if I were a judge, I guess a couple of key questions come to my mind. And so, Felix, I'll just rattle these questions off and then let you kind of take them all.
Sure.
Is there anyone else on your team or anyone that you kind of consider an advisor? It sounds like maybe the cost of one shed is either $4,000 or $7,000. You mentioned you have $3,000 in capital and need another $4,000. So is it $7,000 per shed? And is there any way you can get to an MVP without a shed? Like basically save the money on the shed, but demonstrate proof of concept without that expense.
So I have right now the only person on my team is just me, but my dad is kind of my advisor. He's an entrepreneur himself, sort of. He's my mentor. So each shed will cost around $7,000. I said I have $3,000 in capital already, $4,000 to really get it up to there. And a way to show the proof of concept is I could just rent them out of my house instead of the shed first to show that this actually works.
What do you think about that? And what would the next steps be in order to start that kind of low-level proof of concept just from your house?
So I think the next thing we'll do is advertise this on Facebook Marketplace and other social medias or Lawrence-based things to say, here, you can rent tools from me for a cheap price. Yeah, that's what I think to really get it going.
Cool. All right, thanks. Those are my questions.
Okay.
Felix, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what you thought about YEC in the competition.
Oh, okay. I love it. I thought it was really fun. It takes a little bit of work, but that work pays off. It's a really good experience. It's taught me to love entrepreneurship. I had a great time. It was really fun.
I have a question for you, Felix. What do you think, what do you know now after having gone through YEC that you didn't know before, but you wish you would have known? What's your best tip to folks that are new to YEC?
You just got to go with it. You can't back out of stuff. You don't want to be too hesitant. You just got to go with it and roll with it. Just be confident.
All right, another question for me. I waited 10 seconds. There was silence. What would you say to someone, Felix, that perhaps is interested in YEC but nervous to take the leap?
So I would say you should do it. You'll learn so much from doing it. You'll learn how business works, and this will help you through life as well. Like if you want to start your own business and like actually become a successful entrepreneur, like this is starting young and learning at a young age. It'll set you ahead of the other people around you.
I'll ask another question about, again, kind of putting the judge hat on. I would want to know, let's say that you get a shed and it goes really well. How many more sheds would you want in Lawrence? And then what would you do after that? And how big would you ultimately want the business to be or think it could be?
So I'd like to put around 4 in Lawrence, and then after that I'll expand to like 1 in Eudora, and then reach out towards Kansas City to put them in some neighborhoods around there.
What about beyond this kind of near, let's just call it the greater Lawrence or greater Kansas City area? Any thoughts on beyond?
I think like the suburbs of some big cities is a good, just around like the top cities, just the suburbs around there, I think would be a good spot. I'll need to hire somebody to manage those, but that's what I would like.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Salem, are you able to unmute and offer your question?
Yeah, this is Salem's mom. So putting the judge hat on, what are the legal repercussions that you've thought about regarding if your equipment gets stolen or if it overheats? Because in Kansas, the heating process is a lot, and we have some not smart people that are willing to, cut the grass in 110-degree weather. So I've noticed that the gas lawnmowers, when they overheat, then they'll make like a crackling sound. But the electrical stuff, when it overheats, it explodes. Oh. So, yeah, that's why Elon Musk is dealing with a couple of lawsuits right now, because the car is going kaboom. So, have you thought about like putting a timer on the lawnmower to make sure that there's proper maintenance of it, proper use of it, and making sure people don't, because that would be damaging to your company. Have you thought of that?
Yeah, so I have a couple ideas for that about like being stolen and stuff. So we'll put like little air tags or trackers on each like tool themselves to show that these are being tracked. And also in the like website or app, you'll have to sign a waiver first, so it's not our fault if you get injured with the tool. But also you'll have to put your credit card in there, and we charge you by the hour. So if you take it out of the shed, the timer starts and we start to charge you. And if you keep it, we're just going to continue charging you until you bring it back.
That's real.
Oh,
Have you thought, here's another question. Have you thought if someone decides that they want to take your equipment and then go ahead and do their own little hustle job on the side? Have you made a legal document for that saying it's for their own personal use and not for them to become their own little entrepreneurship?
I mean, I haven't really thought about that much. I mean, if someone managed to get a lawnmower out and managed to sell it by the hour for more than I do, I think it would be impressive. I'd probably shut it down and be like, can I have my tool back? But yeah.
I think that would be a good thing for you.
Yeah,
If,
I'm honest.
who cares if they're making money? Like, you're making money. So that's the point.
I want to, thanks for those questions, because I think like you did a great job fielding them, Felix, but I think it was a good example of like, you know, questions can come out of like that maybe you haven't thought of. Don't let it rattle you. You handled it really well. But I think one of the things that I know that some of the tips that I've heard in the preparation for YEC is do your pitch for your family members, or even like do it in front of your dog or your cat or your mirror. But maybe a parent or a family member. Did you test it out a couple times, Felix, before you first competed? And did that help prepare you for some questions that maybe you weren't quite ready for?
Yeah, so I did it to my parents and see what they thought, but I also did it to myself. I did it to some family members and just told them to ask questions, and I took notes and answered them. So I was just prepared for what they might ask in the competition.
I have a kind of follow-up question to that. What would you say to someone who might be nervous presenting to a group of judges that they don't know?
I mean, these judges, they're so friendly. They love entrepreneurship. They love you're doing entrepreneurship. They don't judge you at all. It's a great time. You don't need to worry about them. They support everything you're doing.
I was a judge, so I appreciate that feedback. Thank you.
I guess one other thing that I would add with this is being able to think on your feet is really important, but that's also why you need to run your pitch by as many people as possible, so that ideally you've been asked 100 different questions in a lot of different ways. So when you get that question, it may not be the first time you've heard it, and maybe you didn't answer that question perfectly the first time, and then you have a chance to go back and think about it and develop a better answer. So the more preparation you do by practicing, the better. And then second of all, everybody between like a third grader and your grandma needs to be able to understand what you're doing. A lot of times, somebody really understands what they're doing, but that may not come across to somebody else who hears that pitch. And so that's again why practice is so important. And we want to keep the pitch aspect relatively short and simple so that you can get to the Q&A, which is where the magic really happens. That's where you have an opportunity to kind of impress the judges. So the pitch itself needs to be really easy and understandable so that you can get to the Q&A and shine.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that there's a question about the competition, and I'm gonna real quick. I'm gonna cover. I wanted to cover some aspects of the competition, and then if there are some additional questions specific to Felix, we can get to that. So real quick, and then if hopefully I will cover some of the questions that folks have, but if not, I'll open up the floor again because we're doing great on time. So real quick, I want to go back to the screen and share in terms of what's next. And again, I am going to go to the website and I'll show you some of the aspects of the competition. But what's next is we are going to host what we're calling a winter workshop on Saturday, December 7th from 10 to 12:30 at the Lawrence Public Library. We're going to be in the auditorium. We're going to take a bit of a deeper dive on the different components of the YEC, which I'll touch on here in a couple minutes when I go on the competition website. But we're going to just take a bit of a deeper dive on that. And then we're going to have stations set up around that room so that participants or folks that are interested can maybe have some one-on-one time or small group time. Especially if you've got a team, teams are encouraged. It can be, teams sometimes sometimes it's one person, but sometimes it's three folks. We've seen that before as well. but we're going to have time for one-on-one conversations with seasoned entrepreneurs, support organization folks like Kyle and Carrie and Christina, and other folks that have served as judges with the YEC in the past to provide just some one-on-one advice to potential competitors. So I'll have some updated information on our website for that here soon. But when I send out an email after this webinar to everybody that signed up, I'll have my email address with the link to this reporting, but also and if you email me, I'd love to know, just get a heads up on who's coming, just so we can plan for our numbers. All right, so then you can go, we would encourage folks to register for the YEC on the Venture Dash website. So you can get to that Venture Dash website and to the county's Douglas County YEC website through the QR code that's on here. And then I've got the link that's on here as well. So in terms of the components of the competition, while I'm shifting to this next screen, I want to make sure I'm talking about some of the questions that were already in the, while I'm shifting to that, well, here, real quick. So one of the questions that was in the chat a few minutes ago was, what's the actual competition like? How many teams were there, and what do you have to do? So in terms of, and I'm going to ask Felix to weigh in here as well if he wants to, but in terms, what is the actual competition like? We start shortly after 8:30, depending on how many teams there are, and we've had anywhere from 10 to 20 teams. It just depends. And we've done this competition. We did it virtually a couple years when we were all still experiencing navigating the pandemic. So depending on how many teams we have, sometimes we have to really be aggressive with managing our time, but we give every competitor a schedule, and that schedule, it makes sure that you rotate amongst the different components of the competition. So this year, the components of the competition are to do a formal presentation, which Felix demonstrated for everyone today, to also do the trade show presentation, and there are components of what should be involved in that trade show competition on our website. And I'm going to shift to that here in a minute. And then you're going to also be evaluated based on the executive summary that you submit for when you apply to compete in the competition. So we give you a schedule of where you need to be and at what time. Most of the time you are hanging out by your trade show presentation, and the judges work their way around to evaluate those based on the schedule. And then you're shifting in and out of the other spaces where you're presenting your presentation to the judges. Those are we generally have folks in there no more than 10 minutes so that you're doing your presentation, and then there's time for the judges to ask all their questions. Then the competitors are dismissed, and the judges have just a little bit of time to score folks' presentations. And then once we get through all that, we compile all the scores, and thankfully our Venture Dash website that I'm going to go to, our Venture Dash website compiles all those scores in real time for us. So we're able to pretty quickly announce the first, second, third, and People's Choice Award winners, and announce those right around between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock is what we usually hit. We do a check presentation, a little celebration, and we do like to open up the trade show presentation. The trade show part of it is open throughout the morning. So you're set up in the hall at your own table, you're sitting or standing by your trade show, and community members that we've advertised the event to, just, some folks that care about entrepreneurship may stop by, but also encourage your family, your friends, your classmates to come by and see your trade show presentation, and be prepared to talk about your product. Sometimes people sell things, but you don't have to sell things. If your product is something that is a delicious baked good, people have samples out, and that's always popular. But here's the Venture Dash website. What we ask folks that are interested in participating is you just follow this has all the details on it. It has the date, the time, where it's going to be. Peasley Technical Center. You can see the schedule for the day, it's pretty general right now. There's a lot of stuff that happens between 9 o'clock and 11:30, 12. You can see here that the deadline to submit your application to apply is January 24th. So if you dive into join this competition, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to select entrepreneur. But for other folks that are watching, we are looking for judges. So if you want to be a judge, we're always looking for judges. And then if you want to be a mentor, we're happy to get mentors and assign those, make them available to entrepreneurs that are looking for some extra assistance. So for this, I'm going to do entrepreneur, put in your grade. Again, this competition is open to middle school and high school age students that reside in Douglas County. So you can be going to a private school, you can be going to a public school, you can be a homeschool student. We'll just put Billy Mills. And then you see here the different components of the competition. So to formally apply, to complete your registration, you need to submit your executive summary by January 24th. So all the components of the executive summary are outlined on the Venture Dash website. So you're going to upload, it's going to allow you to upload a file. We prefer that it's a PDF, but my contact information is on the website, so folks can connect with me if need be, if you're having any challenges on that. So again, all the pieces that you need to cover are on there. The second component is, we call this an elevator pitch, and our partners with Network Kansas that host this event tell us that this can be anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes long. So it needs to be no more than 4 minutes long. It can have a slide presentation, and here are the components that you're going to be evaluated on. Sorry, this says 2 minutes. I need to modify that. Sorry, this is good for me. I need to make some corrections here. So it's 2 to 4 minutes long. And then the judges will be allowed to ask questions. And I clearly need to modify that you can provide slides and you can provide handouts. And then let's see. Then back here, we have the trade show presentation. The trade show presentation, they give a time period of a 90-minute event. Ours generally runs a little longer than that. It's closer to 2 hours. But 90 minutes is probably a safe assumption once everybody's set up. And once all the judging is completed, then we'll let entrepreneurs know that they can take down their trade show booth and prepare for the announcement for the winners. But our judges usually walk around and they spend time talking to the entrepreneur, and they provide their scoring. Let's see. Let's see, where is, oh, I'm missing something on here. I'm trying to, okay. I'm going to go back here. So that's how you apply. I'm going to clean up the elements on here that we talked about that I want to make sure that everything's clear on here, but this is what you do. And if there's questions about how to apply, then folks can reach out to me, and I know I certainly help folks troubleshoot throughout the year. Does that answer questions that folks had about the competition? Yes or no? No, okay, hold on. Let me go ahead and offer your question if you'd like to. You can unmute. And EK, if you have questions, go ahead. I'm allowing you to unmute as well.
So we go to Lawrence Virtual School, and we got the pamphlet, and my mom read the application, and it does say that we're supposed to live in the county, but we live in Johnson County. So is that, I asked my counselor, and she said she didn't know. I had to come to the meeting and ask you if it's mandatory that we live in the county. We are in your school district. We've been in Lawrence Virtual School for 10 years now. because I'm a sophomore. So that was my question.
I'm gonna say yes. Seems like a unique situation, but let me double check with our sponsors at Network Kansas. Can you drop your email address in the chat and I can make sure I follow up with you one way or the other? I'm glad you asked.
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Are there any other questions that folks have? Okay. All right. While I was going through any of that, did anything pop into your head, Felix? Any last minute hot tips from you without giving away any of your competitive advantage?
I don't think so. I think you covered it all.
Well, it is 12:48. We did a really great job keeping everybody on, keeping this on time. I really appreciate you, Felix, for jumping on. I really appreciate Kyle and Christine and Carrie. We're going to send out the recording of this. Feel free to share it out, like I said, through your personal and professional networks. And then if you have questions, the county's website is always available to provide information on the event. And we appreciate everybody's time and attention today. Happy Friday. Bye, y'all.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.